Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, today, at last, there's been a number of kits that we've been waiting for forever. It feels like this year, 2023, has been a tricky one for, I don't know, it's a strange one. I'm not going to moan about it, but a lot of model manufacturers, Tamiya, MiniArt, Airfix, Zokimura, so many of them have had kits that we expected to be out in September, October have never shown up. As I'm filming this, it's very early November, and finally one of those very anticipated kits has arrived. Some of you may know more about it than others. It's the MiniArt P-47D-25RE Thunderbolt, and this is quite a new departure for MiniArt because they are not a household name to many of you. They're in the Ukraine, of course, another company that seems to be doing amazing things along with ICM and Models Fit and many others. But this is a slight departure for them because they've gone to quite a high profile sort of mainstream aircraft model. It's kind of one of the first that they've done at this level, at this scale, at this sort of popularity, if you know what I mean. And the minute I saw this, because MiniArt are known for the following really. They're known for doing some very eclectic, rather off the wall subjects sometimes, to be honest. Pigeons and wheelie bins, skips and toilets, outdoor toilets, and all sorts of weird and wonderful items, but they do them so beautifully well. They're known for excellent moulding. Some of the kits do tend to be perhaps a little complicated, perhaps a little over-engineered with a lot of parts. I'm not prejudging this. I have not opened this box. It's literally just come from the sweaty hands of the courier, and I haven't even opened it yet. What you see is what I see. I know no more knowledge than you've got about it at all. I'm just setting out the stall for what MiniArt are normally about. So they're a bit unusual as a manufacturer, but they're very well loved by those that have had their kits now. Sadly, I'm not one of them, so this for me is a bit of a departure, and I've been intending to get some MiniArt kits anyway, but as soon as this was announced I just signed up immediately because I knew it was going to be a winner. Now they're doing two versions of this. They're doing a basic kit, which is this one. Based on what I've just said about MiniArt, their idea of basic and mine will be very different, I'm sure. Their idea of a basic kit is still quite a detailed and involved kit, I think, and I didn't fancy an ultra photo etch strewn, very complicated version of the same kit. Decided this was the way to go. So anyway, without further ado, let's have a look at it. So it's their kit number 48009. I think I'm one of the first people in the UK to get my hands on this kit. Let's have a closer look, and I'll zoom you in and we'll get cracking. And it says here, what's that? Vladimir Booth 21. I think that's the name, I think, of the artist there. Rather strange one. But let's have a look. So on the side, one side got nothing really, just some basic stuff about the different languages. On the end, that's rather nice artwork, I've got to say. So this is the bubble top, obviously the bubble top, the P-47D-25RE. One of the later ones that came out sort of, I think, end of 44, early 45. These came on into the war. And as you can see there, it's got some rocket pipes under the wing. Very, very aerodynamic, a very high performance, and a very heavily armoured aircraft. And I say armoured in the sense of armour plating because they were quite hard to shoot down. There's one or two stories about these being shot to bits almost and still making it back to their bases in the UK at places like Halesworth and other locations where they were stationed. On the side, we have got, looks like we've got two options here, and it says, oh look at this, the 82nd Fighter Squadron, the 78th Fighter Group of the 8th Air Force, US Air Force, US Army Air Force, I think that should say, but anyway, to be absolutely correct. And it is based at Duxford in the summer of 44, so obviously, okay, I said late 44, end of 44, so maybe they came through midsummer. And then this one is doesn't actually say. It doesn't say a location, strangely. Colonel David Schilling, that one. The other one has not got the name of the actual pilot. Slight inconsistency. That gives pilot details. So that one gives the base details. This one gives pilot details. Slightly inconsistent. Cartograph decals. So we're not going to have any of this nightmarish stuff from Edouard, of course. So we know that this is going to have some nice decals in it. So without further ado, is it sealed? It's not sealed. Okay, let's just zoom you back. I have to say this is a real treat. It's one of those that I've been desperately waiting for ages and ages and ages. Finally, it's here. Just in time for Telford, of course, so they've timed it well. There's lots of stories about Airfix and Tamiya and Zircumura's not coming in time for Telford, whether that's true or not. Well, there we are. So, we have a box. We have got what seems to be, as I say, I've not seen this. It's all new to me. You're seeing it first time as I am. A big bag, one big bag of sprues with multiple other bags within it, I think. And then we have instructions, decals, etc. Call outs. Let's move that aside. Let's see what we've got. Now then. Gosh, I don't know where to begin. So this is a completely new experience for many of us, not least of all me. Is it a resealable bag? I don't think it is. I think it's just going to have to be a cut it open job. Yep. Strange that, isn't it? Bit stringy. Let's just cut it open then. This is my own kit. I have actually purchased this one, so I think I might build it as well. Because of course, famously I've got the Tamiya, the Razorback, which I've completed, and quite a nice kit that was, to be fair. So I'm suspecting that this is being so up to date, it's probably going to be superior. Let's hope anyway. So, moving that over there out of the way, I'm going to zoom you right in. And by the way, somebody told me off last week. People tell me off for all sorts of things. Some of them spurious criticisms, others are very fair. Mistakes I make, I'm only human, and I do try and do things without cuts and editing and all that. So I like that style. I think most of them subscribers do as well. Occasionally it can lead to an odd technical mistake or just a factual error or something. But I was told off last week for shaking around the actual sort of instructions, or the catalogue I think I was relating to, and shaking it around a bit too much. Well, I just want to say that the person who said that, I think he was quite right. He was actually within his rights, and he was correct in the video concerned. But it is quite difficult for me because with my camera setup, my screen, you know, I'm trying to see what you're seeing, and it's quite a long way away, and it's not very big, the screen at all. So it is actually quite difficult. So please just give me a bit of latitude, because it's not quite as easy as you think it is. I'm not seeing what you're seeing. You know, it's a tiny, not much bigger than a postage stamp, the screen that you know, that I see this, and whereas you see it on your computer or TV or laptop or whatever, iPad. Anyway, enough of that. We'll try not to shake it around too much today. I'll try and let you dwell on it a little bit, especially when we've got something so new. So here we go. So this is the MiniArt P-47D Thunderbolt 25RE ground attack fighter bomber, basically, or Yabo as the Germans would have called it. So what we got: highly detailed model. Hatches can be posed open and closed. 3 types of wheels are included. Clear parts are included, and a decal sheet for 2 variants. That sounds pretty impressive. It really does. On the rear, we've got. Oh, okay. So this is beautifully done, isn't it? Look at this. Look at the detail they've gone into here. Nice big colour call-outs for your bombs and your drop tanks. Paper drop tank with a paper mache, in fact. And then you get your more conventional aluminium ones, like you get on the Mustang here. And you got 200 gallons. That's 108 gallon, 150 gallon. The big 200 gallon. Which is the one I've got on my Tamiya Razorback. And then a smoke grenade. Never seen one of those before. Look at that. That's bizarre, isn't it? How cool is that? And then you've got your bombs over here. £250, £500, £1,000, and sort of. So you got a long £1,000 and you got a short fat £1,000. And what they refer to as a bazooka, which is basically a rocket, the triple rocket. Okay, so, as I say, without further ado, we won't dilly-dally on this one. We open up the instructions and we get the sprue map, which looks pretty comprehensive. Looks like it does look like a lot of parts, doesn't it? Oh my word, for a 48 scale kit. Should just tell you as well, in terms of pricing, which I didn't explain at the start, This is retailing in the UK around about 37 to £40 thereabouts. Get it slightly cheaper, a fraction cheaper here, a fraction more expensive there. And that's not really including shipping. Some may include it, some may not, but in that sort of 36 to £40 bracket is where you're looking at for pricing. So let's see how it compares and see what we think about its relative position in the market. So we've got nice clear data there showing the decal shape. Looks like we've got to make your 4-blade prop, you've got that in 2 sections. And here we go, without further ado. So, the nice big clear instructions, I've got to say. So it looks like we've got moulded in seat belts, I think, in the plastic, which is okay. Saves a lot of work fiddling around with photo etch. Making up your pilot's seat. You've got your bracing and your mounting points underneath going in there, and then you're going to bring that into the cockpit floor. And you've got your stick, and you've got your front bulkhead, your pedals, and then you've got all of your side panels with your oxygen piping and radios and all that kind of stuff. Then you've got your instrumentation coming in, and then you've got the port side. In fact, I think it's the port side that's got the radio. I think that's sort of stuff on the right, isn't it? In fact, oxygen control and stuff like that. Yeah, you got your radio on the port side, and you got your throttle levers, etc. Cockpit decals, so they've got decals for the actual instruments. Quite a lot of detail parts going on there to make up those side panels. Then you're going to build up your tail wheel. Just make it a little bit more light for you. There we go. And then we start to work on the fuselage side straight away. So you've got aerials going in there for the radio, and you've got some intakes, and you've got the I think it's the supercharger vent at the back. So I think it was supercharged, wasn't it, this one? And then you've got the internal bay there for the tail wheel, which I'm just trying to remember if they're retractable on the Thunderbolt. We'll get to that in a minute, I think, actually. Is it retractable? Yeah. Yeah, because it's a retracting system. Then we're going to bring in our cockpit into the centre and bring the 2 halves of the fuselage together. And you get your top combing going in with your gun sight down here. And then you're going to bring in your front bulkhead and your top cowling going on. Top combing, I should say. Then we're building up your engine. Now, I will just say, in common with quite a lot of kits these days, I have just spotted a problem, which some of you will maybe shouting at me already. There's no write-up, is there? There's no data on this. Don't think there was anything really, particularly on the... No, there was nothing, no technical data or historical data about the aircraft at all. Now, you do get that with ICM, also from the Ukraine, so I just want to point that out. That's a little bit disappointing if they haven't added anything, which they clearly have not done. So they haven't bothered with any history or background, which I'm a bit disappointed about. But anyway, we'll crack on. I have a feeling the plastic will make up for it. So you're going to build up your engine. I was going to say, is it a Wasp engine? Which engine was this? My memory is just failing me. And in my eagerness to get this to you as soon as possible, having just had it handed by the courier, I didn't have time to go and do a load of research, but I think it's the Wasp engine or a variant of it. Obviously it's a radial engine. And then we are going to build up, basically it's the exhaust scoops and the front boss is going in there. Sorry, zoom you back in. Bit hard to see at that range for you, I think. So yes, here we go. And then you're going to bring in your rudder. Attaching the rudder, which looks quite nice, and you've got your vents for the exhaust and the cooling system coming out the side. And then we're going to put the cowls. This is nice that you can have these open or close. You can put your cowls in here. It's not really explaining open chassis option. It's not really explaining about the open or closed version of the cowls there. I presume you just have to make it up as you go along, but it doesn't give a huge amount of direction, does it? Not that I can see. Clearly shows open or closed option for the exhaust flaps on the side of the cowl. Doesn't seem to say anything about how, having the cowl open itself. Then you've got the open or closed option. It calls it open chassis option, slightly unusual language, for, you know, even having your tail wheel out or in. And then we're going to start building up the, looks like it's the main gear bay. This is down here. And we've got some of the hydraulics going in there, also some flaps being prepared. And then we're going to put in our 50 cal, 450 cal machine guns in each wing, of course, and building up some more of the hydraulics for the gear retraction system in the bay. Got your light going in there nicely. That's nice. We've got some separate ailerons and flaps, so I guess you can pose them. Again, it doesn't make that very clear. There's some holes here you'll need to drill out for your rocket launch tubes if you're going to use those, or if you're just going to use pylons, or maybe both. Bringing the top and the bottom wing together. You're looking at it from underneath, aren't you? So that's the bottom wing, and the top wing is there. And then we're going to do all that, repeat all this on the other side, complete repeat of what we've just gone through. And again, same over here. Putting in your 50 cals and bringing together, putting in your flaps and your ailerons. Then we're going to, you've got two options. You've got chassis normal, chassis, it's not a car. Some strange language translation, so there's been lost here in translation. Chassis, airframe it should say. Airframe normal or airframe under load. So obviously they've got some weight on wheels, which is nice, so I don't be too critical there. And then you've got left chassis, I mean the left gear, right gear, and then you've obviously got your legs going in there, complete with suspension, and your door, part of the doors for the gear. Then we are going to, we've got separate elevators at the back on the horizontal stabilizer, which is great. We're going to bring in your the wings, and you've got your doors here for your undercarriage. Bringing on the engine, mounting that into the fuselage, and then you're going to have some the doors for the main part of the main door, the inner door, inboard door. What's just puzzling me? I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking, is it actually giving you colour call-outs here? It doesn't seem to be, or does it? I'm just getting this sort of slightly, yeah, I'm getting this slight border model vibe here, where they're not giving you any data about the colours. I don't see that they've done that. There's no colour call-outs. So these are the parts, these are part numbers and details for the sprues and the part numbers. They're not giving any colour call-outs at all. That is a bit of a problem, I've got to be honest. Now, I say, this is MiniArt's, I think it's their first attempt at something quite like this on this scale. It's going to be quite a decent sized model. But they really need to put the colour call-outs in there. We need to know when we're building up things like, you know, internals for wheel wells, or, you know, here, working on the cockpit, we need to know what the colour's going to be. And it doesn't actually tell us. Or does it? Does it? I think it actually does. Yes, okay. We've sussed it. These numbers in the grey, that's the colour call out. 04, 04, 01, got over here 04, 04. Yeah, that is actually the colour call out, and it's based on there is actually a, should have focused on this at the beginning. There is actually a colour chart there, so I'm not quite right with my criticism. I take that back. That's good news, because I was getting very worried. There doesn't seem to be a lot of it though, and it's not the clearest. But anyway, okay, I think we've got that clarified now. So moving on, then we're going to get to over here. We're going to be putting in our cockpit canopy, which has got this big bubble canopy, of course, and we've got our propellers, which go on in two separate twin blades, so to speak, to make the fore up. And you've got your windscreen going on there. You've got your pylons coming together. There's a little bit of bracing there that has to go in on the canopy, and then you've got your different drop tanks. So you've got these paper, as they call it, paper mache in fact, the 108 gallon or the 200 gallon, or you've got those huge 200 gallon is a huge thing, a big sort of oval, flat shaped thing. Not the most aerodynamic, as we saw. And then you've got the bombs coming together, and you've got your sway braces coming in here. All that's going to go in. They look quite nice, actually, the way they've constructed them. They're sort of, yeah, they've sort of moulded some of the parts like a half shell. And then you've got the rocket tube coming in here for your bazooka tubers there. You see, they call it rocket launcher tube, they call it bazooka under the page. Confusing if you're not familiar with the terminology. And then you've got the loadouts are clearly stated there, showing the different options and where to put them. And then, okay, that's not too bad. And then we've got the stencil callouts, and there's quite a few. Looks like we've got 80 stencil. That's quite a few. That's going to keep you busy for a while, I think. And then we've got the colour callout at the end. And as I mentioned, slightly odd in that they've got this, as I suspected, they've got this Colonel David Schilling as the pilot here, and it doesn't say where he's based at all. And on the other option, it's got the opposite. They've got no name of the pilot, and it says it's based at Duxford. Which is a bit confusing, slightly inconsistent. However, they've done a nice job with the colouring, and it's quite a nice scheme, isn't it? The camo scheme. I quite like that. I'm not sure if I've seen one in that scheme before. Does it have a name? Not sure. Yeah, and that's fairly straightforward, really. Just and it gives you the numbers for all the decals, call-outs. That's pretty straightforward. Same over here, and this has got a slightly more conventional sort of pattern. The sort of like an olive drab type, isn't it? But yeah, looks very nice. Looks very nice. Well, that's the instructions. Okay, I think that. So far so good. I think that they should have really put some history about the aircraft. Why would you not do that? They're copying the Chinese. If they want to copy somebody, copy their own countrymen at ICM and others who actually give you a write-up and a bit of background and history and data. There's no data about the plane here. There's nothing to tell you what it was, you know. A youngster buying this was, well, what was a Thunderbolt? You know, there's nothing at all. You get more in a Matchbox kit. Slightly disappointed that. Anyway, we won't let that hold us back from keeping an open mind on the plastic and the decals. Now they are cartographs, so they should be really nice. And they do look absolutely gorgeous, and they look thin as well. Look at this. And people complain about decals. We have, you know, Edouards which are virtually almost unusable. We've got Tamiya's that are too thick and cause all sorts of problems as well. But cartograph generally, you know, do a lovely job, and there's minimal excessive carrier film there. We've got some lovely detail with those cockpit instruments. Get a bit closer. They're quite nice, aren't they? Yes. Get the feeling that you overlay them in a process there. I didn't really notice that. Not sure how well explained that was. But it's good that they've got the cutouts for the 50 cal machine guns, where the ejector chutes come out in the stars and bars. Very impressive. Very nice decals. And then we've got the 80. Oh no, there's more than 80. I was wrong. Oh my god, there's 107 stencils. 107. Ooh, so that's going to keep you a little bit busy for the weekend, or 2 weekends. It's not going to be the work of 5 minutes, is it? That's for sure. Okay, well those look all very nice. No problem there. Now then, how about the plastic? Now this is pretty much straight off the boat almost, you know. So we're very quite honoured really to be one of the first people to see this. As I say, I think I'm going to have to just cut into the bags. I get the impression that this has done a bit of a hunt. Just remove that. I don't think they've got the best. Now they haven't got the best packaging in MiniArt because they're actually slightly welded together. There you go. Anyway, let's have a go. So, starting with the fuselage. Yes, it looks good. Look at this. What do you think of this? Now then, I'll go in a bit closer, I think. Really see it in detail. The panel lines are really fine. So fine you can barely feel them. That's how finely they've done it. I can just about feel it's like almost a graininess rather than actually feeling the lines themselves. They're so finely done. That is remarkable quality. It's stunningly good. That's kind of typical of MiniArt's approach to fine moulding and detail, really. That's really nice. And again on the other side. A bit of flash there actually. Can you see that? Oh, just on the top there. A tiny bit of flash. But quick wipe with the sanding stick, it's very, very minor. But the detail and the riveting detail and panel lining is just exquisite. It's really nice. So far so good with that, I think. Yeah, this is just a nub for the I think for the ejector pins, so that's just going to be removed. But that looks very nice. It does. Yeah, I'm impressed so far. Okay, let's see what. Oh, that's it. That's strange. We've got some parts are in bags and some parts aren't. So we've got some sprues. I'll do them first. Some sprues that are not in bags, and all the rest are in bags. Now, let us have a look then. Slightly unusual sprue designs, if you ask me. So, we've got the propellers. Let's start with the propellers. Start at the front. Let's have a look. Yeah, the sprue designs, I'm not sure are the best because they look a bit warpy, and yeah, the sprue is a bit warped actually. I'm hoping that's not going to. Can you see what I mean? Hoping that's not going to impart itself into the parts. Okay, let's have a look closer. Engine, beautiful. All the cylinders are beautifully figured, aren't they? Yeah, that's pretty good. And you've got all the like injector rings, and then here you've got the conrods. Not the conrods, basically the tappet rods, I should say. All the little bits of exhaust that come out of the cylinders. Then you've got all the cooling pipes, cooling system. Some very fine small moulded parts here. I'm not too taken with this the way that they've done this. It's a bit strange, to be honest. The plastic is an odd grade as well. It's I'm not sure it's the finest plastic I've ever seen. And over here, zoom you out, again, slightly strange looking arrangement in terms of the moulding of the actual frame of the sprue, the tree. As I say, again, slightly warped. Let's hope that that's not going to be affecting the parts, but you've got some nice moulding. Look at this. You've got all the cockpit floor, and the bulkhead. Very fine detail there. And then over on this side, we've got the. We have got some flash appearing though again. We've got the pedals. Can you see that? Can you see the flash on these pedals? It's not bad. It's just between them here. But in the middle, there's a bit of flash. A bit flashy. It's not quite Tamiya, you know, not quite ICM even. I don't think in that respect. Then we've got these different variants of the tyres, and I'm just trying to see. It said for the weight on one has got load and one has got no load. Oh, actually, it's not that. It's just different treads, as you can see. you've got like a rougher tread for rougher runways and fields, and then there's a slightly smoother version there. You see it again there, can't you? And then we've got bits of the radio equipment. And that's what's it, supercharger. You've got so many small little parts here, a lot of parts. Then we've got our 50 cal machine guns that are going to be popping out of the wing. Now those look nice. They appear to be slide moulded. Can you see that? If I can get this in a little bit closer for you. It says, can you make it out? That the barrels are hollowed out at the end. Well, that's a nice feature. I'm actually struggling with my current glasses on to see just how hollowed out they are, but there is definitely a hollowing at the end, which is actually really nice at 1/48. That's impressive. And then various other parts to do with the tail wheel, and you've got some parts here for the for inside the tail wheel leg itself, the fitting. Very nice. Very nice. And we've got some fitments there that go in under the wing. It's got a place for a light. That's under the fuselage underneath. Yes, very nice. Just a little bit, just a tiny bit of flash here and there that I wasn't really anticipating, that's all. Anyway, we'll move on. Let's have a look at these wings. I'm just slightly disappointed they couldn't give us a slightly more sophisticated bag. It looks like it's been very rapidly done, this, to and they've used just heat sealable bags, which is fine, but you can't really see them until it's mine. I don't upset anybody. Right, now this is nicely done though. Look at the detail they've got on these wings. This is very impressive. Okay, so there's the top wing. And again, this ultra fine detail, the riveting and the panel lining on the wing is really, really exceptional. You know, it's so well done. I can't feel it. It's not feelable, but it's there, as you can see. Very, very visible. Absolutely gorgeous. And then underneath, where you've got all the ejector chute holes here for the 50 cal guns. And then we've got our cowls over here for the engine. Then we've got the legs for the main legs for the gear. And there's two versions, of course, as we mentioned earlier. You've got the top combing for the top of the cockpit. This is the front of the where the windscreen will be. And then you've got the top piece here for the actual cowl itself. Again, lovely, lovely detail. The tiny rivets, so well done. Those are nice. Engraving's lovely. Yep, and then over here we've got a couple of bits of the internals for the gear bay, and then we've got some pylons, of course, which are going to be needed. So that's all very good. I'll zoom you out a bit. There we go. So there's just one or two areas so far where they've got little bits of flash, which I wouldn't have expected really. To wait a long time for this. We've been anticipating it very hotly. Just going back to the, I'm just jumping around a bit here. Just going back to those propeller blades from the earlier sprue though. I thought I should show you on the back now. They've done quite a nice job of positioning the sprue contact gate. They're not really in the way too much, are they? Anyway, moving on. Here we have got a couple more. This time we've got the bombs and the tanks, struck tanks. And again, another strange setup on the sprue. What a weird looking sprue setup. And we have got this weight on wheels effect, which I promised you. If I turn it round, it'll make more sense. Weight on wheels effect, which I promised you with the tyres, which you can now see, can't you? Much better. You can see the squashed side wall there, part of the effect. That's done quite nicely, isn't it? Just like that. Got our 3 different options of wheel hub, centre of the wheel, and then we've got all the sway braces there and parts for the fixing of the bombs. We've got our rocket launchers, or bazookas as it described them at one stage. It's a little strange to odd language, but they've moulded that nice. Look at the detail here, isn't that nice? The ends, front and rear end of it. That's really good. That's the front and that's the rear. You got your big 200 odd gallon tank, big fat one. And there's your papier-mâché tank. What was it, 160? And then you got your bombs. Now these look nicely moulded as well. Look at these. Those look really nice. Little tail cones and the fins. Really cool. And here you got your more conventional smaller drop tanks like the Mustangs used. And then you got the bigger one, is it 250 gallon I think it was. The big metal drop tanks. And that one of course, here, this is this smoke dispenser tank for dropping smoke. I guess that's a battlefield support weapon when you've got your troops on the ground maybe in trouble. And these guys, instead of bombing the enemy, they come down and lay down a smoke screen. Interesting. Okay. Then, zoom back. Oh, I've actually got 2 of those. I've just realised there's actually a duplication. Oh, so in fact there's only one more sprue to go. Now one thing I am noticing as well, just zooming back again, one thing I'm noticing that's slightly disappointing me is there's no figures, no pilot, which is a bit of a shame. And we keep asking for this, don't we? We want pilots, folks. We want pilots, and MiniArt are so good at doing figures and animals and all sorts of things. I'm surprised they're not doing figures actually more. But have a look at this. Zoom you right in. Here we've got all the detail parts. So we've got our rudders, ailerons, flaps, etc. Here we go. And again, lovely, lovely, lovely detail. Look at that. And that rudder. Isn't that nice? It's two-sided. It's got detail on both sides. And then you've got your ailerons. And your upper and lower sides of the flaps. And then we've got a lot of little parts, including parts of the seat. And there's the back of the seat. I said at the beginning I thought it was it's got moulded in belts, and indeed it has, as you can see there. Which don't look too bad at all actually. Those will be nice if you paint them up carefully. I think those will come out a treat and save you a lot of time fiddling around with photo etch and all that stuff, you know. Then we've got our elevators at the back here. Here we've got the doors for the gear, the inboard doors, horizontal stabilisers, and then quite a lot of small fine parts, including the stick and parts of there's a supercharger exit. You got the back there, the back of the seat with the armour plating, armour plated back, pilot seat. Yeah, it's really nice. And then you got all these, and these are the optional open or shut exhaust vents coming out behind the engine. Yeah, there's a lot of fine moulding there, isn't there? So, what do we think? What do we think? Well, in some respects it's bang on. I've got a slight nagging feeling of disappointment with this one, if I'm honest. I was expecting this, and I actually predicted confidently to a friend of mine. I said, it's going to be one of the kits of the year. And it looks like a damn fine kit. Oh, in fact, we haven't quite finished, have we? Oh, so they've done these rather nasty bags, and then they've done a nice Ziploc bag for the clear parts, which I'm not complaining about. Which couldn't have made a bit more effort with those other bags really. Let's have a look at their clear parts. Let's have a close look at this, because this is the final one we haven't seen. And now, I don't know if this is going to show on camera. I'm going to try and give you a good long look at this. Now, I'm not that convinced that's the sharpest, clearest plastic I've ever seen. Far from it. The front windscreen, you can see, has got some bits of distortion in it. It's nice and bright, and yeah, but and then the teardrop part of it, again, not sure if this is being picked up so well on the camera. It's quite distorted in places. It's like on the port side here where my finger is. Not sure if you can pick this up. It does distort. You can almost see that there's a difference in thickness in the plastic. Don't think the camera's going to get this. You'll have to take my word for it. There is a lot of distortion there, I think, in that. And here there's also quite a lot of distortion. So not sure really. Not too sure. Don't know if you can see it better. Yeah, you can see it there, can't you? It's not the best. It's not the best bubble canopy injection moulded plastic you've ever seen. That I don't think. Even on something relatively straightforward like the windscreen, can you see the distortions there? There's a fair bit of distortion there. It's okay. It's not a deal breaker. It's just perhaps not wowing me with the quality as much as I would have anticipated. I don't see this as being... there's a lot of parts, high part count. I'm not sure the quality is as good as... or no, I'm trying to be unfair to them. I don't think it's better than ICM. I don't think it is really. It's just a lot more detail. It's more detail. But ICM criticism that they get, of course, is that they don't always go for a huge amount of detail. But they are a bit like Airfix in a way, in that they're trying to. They've even said this to me recently, that they're trying to build kits to a very affordable price, and as such, that can lead to very small compromises in certain areas. Now, I think the plastic here, in terms of the surface quality, is gorgeous. Really, really good. On all the parts, you know, the wings, the fuselage, it's consistent, it's sharp, it's crisp. In some other areas, it's a bit flashy and it's not quite as good, and those clear parts are a bit of an Achilles heel for it. So, what do we think then? Did you agree? You're getting the slight benefit of having a huge zoom, 20 times zoom, which I don't have with my humble eyesight at this point in time. I think it's beautifully presented in terms of the box art, but they didn't make any effort with any data. You know, that's not really good enough. It's not good enough. That is almost like a copy of what Border Model do, and I don't like it. I don't like it. So I'm afraid I'm going to give it. It's not a bad score. I love the kit. I'm probably going to build this kit actually at some point. I think it'll build into a really nice Thunderbolt. Just one or two areas where it didn't hit the high watermark I was expecting, if I'm brutally honest. Yeah, I got one of these for a friend of mine as well, and yeah, I hope he's not going to tell me off now. It's a nice kit. It's a beautiful kit. It's a really nice Thunderbolt. It moves the game on in terms of the surface detail, I think, but in one or two areas it just does fall a little bit short, so I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. They didn't do any data. There's no information about the history of the aeroplane, which is a terrible, stupid thing to do, because it's very easy. It's a bit lazy of them, isn't it? So easy to just do a write-up of 1 or 2 paragraphs. You know, I could do that in 5 minutes. It's just, or 10 minutes. It's really not a huge job. That takes away from what is quite a nice presentation, you know. The clear parts are not great. There's some flash in there. Some of the parts of the instructions are not the clearest. So I think 9 is fair. It would have got 9.5 if they bothered with a bit of data, and they didn't. So yeah, MiniArt, just try a little bit harder. Don't be too harsh on them, because I think it's a nice kit, and it's nice to see somebody doing a new one. I think it'll build up well. I'm just still a little bit worried about that clear clear canopy. That's not brilliant, I've got to say. But I think it will be a nice kit. I think it'll be a nice kit, and I think it'll take things like a wash really well. I think it'd be great for weathering and stuff like that. So I think you'll get a really nice Thunderbolt out of it. 9 out of 10 is where I'm at. I hope you think that's fair. We have more exciting new things coming through very soon. We're going to be having a look at Tamiya, etc. So stay tuned, folks. Lots of interesting new stuff. I alluded to some of them at the beginning. They are overdue as well, so who knows, they may pop up at any moment. So please stay tuned to the channel. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to give me a like, give me a 10 out of 10 with a thumbs up, and you know, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And until next time, which I hope won't be too long in the future, thanks very much for joining me. Do take good care of yourselves. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.